Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach, and today we have with us Brian J. Greenberg, who is the author of The Salesman Who Doesn't Sell. Brian, welcome to the program.
Hey, thank you for having me, Mike.
Hey, I'm really excited to hear about what you do in your book, The Salesman Who Doesn't Sell, because that sounds really attractive to salespeople that don't want to be pushy and salesy. So I'm excited to dive in. But before that, give us a little bit of your background and then what led you to this focus here at your firm.
Sure. I've been making my living getting business online for about 15 years now. My main business is a life insurance website, actually, and life insurance is one of the most competitive keywords in Google. Mm-hmm. And one of the ways that I've been able to succeed over the long term is building myself as an expert. And specifically, I love to build reviews. And, when people look up my company name, they'll see all these 5-star reviews. We also reviewed all the companies on the website. And, we do our best to sell people on our website, so they've already made the decision without even needing to call us. So any sales that we have are teed up, and that's what the book is about.
That's awesome. And, it's kind of like in marketing and psychology, it's like the pre-frame. And when prospects are pre-framed to understand just a little bit about what you do, now when they interact with you, whether it's phone, in person, or whatnot, now they view you as someone that can be trusted, not as that slick salesperson. So all of those things resonate so well with what my experience is as well. So that's really, really awesome. Now, tell me a little bit about the book, because The Salesman Who Doesn't Sell, obviously that title sounds really, really awesome. And is the gist of it the fact that if you do these things the right way, you shouldn't have to, quote unquote, sell. It's just a conversation, and let's see if we can serve this prospect.
Yeah, that's pretty much, you kind of nailed it right there.
Okay, well, hey, nice interview. Have a nice day.
Yeah, you nailed the psychology about it as well. When everyone's looking at reviews these days, right? So, they're making a decision. They don't want to do all the research. If they go in there, and what you get is the similarity effect. I don't know if you ever read the book Influenced by Robert Cialdini.
Yeah.
If they see reviews by people and you list their names and their cities and actually what they bought or what service you did, you get the similarity effect. When you provide all this information and you kind of don't firewall it, you don't block it, you don't require, too much of a sales call, but give as much as possible, you build up the reciprocity effect. It's kind of like, when you walk into a car dealership, they give you a soda, you feel indebted, right? So the book goes into all these psychological things that you could actually, use, whether it's on a website or free material that you may give out. But what we want to do is for you to be able to be scalable, right? So I don't want you to be on sales calls all day long trying to sell people. I'd rather you kind of get the process down and just repeat it and let it do the work for you.
So I think that hearing you need to show your prospects and even current clients other people that are happy with your services. I think that concept is really common to people, and because when you do that, you get referrals. Yay, that's really common as well. But then how you do it and how you do it in the best way, most efficiently and effectively, that's now where it gets really a little bit more complicated. So talk a little bit about once you have someone that understands, yep, need to do it, now what?
Yeah, there's a right and wrong way to do it. It pains me a little bit when I see people on their website, they'll have some testimonials, but it won't have a date on it. It won't say the product. It won't say who it is. You just don't know that it's real, legitimate, and fresh. what you really want to do is kind of base all your reviews in the same format as you may see on an Amazon or a Yelp. You're going to want to use star reviews. You're going to want to put the person's name. I usually just automatically include their names, only if they say they don't want to. I give them the option. I like to put the city, and I have them write a little blurb, And one of the good things is, obviously, you can display it on your website, and that's great. But to really drive it home is you want to take the customers that were happy, right, that are successful, and then ask them to do that same review on like a Google Business or a Better Business Bureau. Some of these third-party review sites, because people know that those are legitimate, right? They can't be faked. And to make it easy, collect it yourself first, so you can fix something if it's not a good review. But then make it easy on people and just give them that same comment. Send them links directly to the page where they could enter in those reviews, and that drives it home. It's like there's no need for people to get referrals anymore because they can see it right there.
So you made an interesting comment that I want to go deeper on, which is, you get the feedback or the review first so that you can make sure that it's good. And then you want to direct those people to the Better Business or Google or wherever you want them to go, right? Because you as the business person, you can't take that and go, cool, Tom, give me a review. Let me go over to my Google and I'm going to paste it in, because Google needs to see that that person did it. So how do you best facilitate that?
Well, you're right. I always collect reviews internally first that I can control. Because if someone puts a review on a third-party website, you can't get it down. You can't call Google and say, this isn't true, or Yelp. So, there's so many smart ways to do it. I have a web page on my website, brianjgreenberg.com, where it actually tells you, how to get that link, right? So when you ask somebody to post a review, it posts them, they don't have to go to your Google listing page, click on reviews, click submit. It's a 3-step process. What you want to do is send them to the exact page where it gives them that little pop-up, and it has the star reviews, and you're right there, okay? Yeah. Same thing with Better Business Bureau, same thing with Yelp. All these places have these deep links, if you will, that sends them right there. Don't confuse them. Make it extremely easy, right? Give them that exact URL. Sometimes I like to shorten the URL, and I'll put it in a text message. But, if you built up that reciprocity and the similarity, and you've done something for them, people overwhelmingly are open to giving those reviews, and you just need to ask.
Yeah, and and you need to ask, and then you need to follow up as well, because I think that you picture leaving your dentist office and waving, going, hey, thanks, and he goes, hey, do me a favor, review us on Google. And you're like, yeah, I will, and then they don't, right? So it's like, as a business, knowing that you need to have this as a mindset and a focus, as like almost like an ongoing campaign, and have something in place where all of your staff, or you, if you're the only one, you're constantly kind of planting the seeds, and you're constantly asking for. And sometimes I would even say, you want to show your current clients how other clients and customers are responding, so that now it's like, hey, we just got another great review from Betty. Thanks so much, Betty. And then Joe and Dick and Harry, they're like, oh yeah, I need to do that too. So I think that it's like a culture too, right?
Absolutely. So one thing that I do, that I encourage everyone to do, let's say you're in a dentist's office, right, and you have the dental hygienist. Now, bonus them. I bonus my employees. I bonus them, $25 for every review that they get, right? It encourages them to ask for it. Yeah. Now, a lot of people have a roadblock on how much to pay for, because they don't really have a value. They don't know the worth of a 5-star review. Now, what happens when you get those 5-star reviews is your conversion rate increases, right? So the people that come and they look at you, right? They find your website, they look up your name, they're a potential client. More of those are going to close.
Yeah.
Now, if you get a review on a third-party website, and it's a trusted website like Google Business or Yelp or any of these places, I value those at $250 each. And they stay up there for years, okay? So every year they're worth $50. And, I've done that because I have a higher conversion rate in my industry by double than any other companies out there.
Yeah.
All right. So I know that it helps. And conversely, a bad review is even worse. The bad reviews can cost you tens of thousands of dollars, but you always want to guard against it. But as a company culture, if you're constantly going for those 5-star reviews, everything falls in line, Mike. Everyone's going to be giving that 5-star service. But yeah, absolutely. Bonus.
It's interesting because
reward.
I'm sure some nerdy, geeky person can quantify what you just said about, like in this specific industry, conversion rate goes up by X based on number of reviews and things. But we know that it stands to reason. And I'll give you an example. Myself, recently I had one of my kids' laptop just go on the fritz, and it's like, okay, it got a virus and it's just shut down, and I looked and tried and whatever. Well, here now, I called my IT guy, my computer guy. Well, who it is someone locally. I'm in the Denver area, and years ago, probably 5 years now, I had, some computer issue, and the choice was, okay, do I take my whole computer into wherever, drop it off, hope they fix it 2, 3, 4 days later, and wow, that's inconvenient, or let me Google and find, mobile computer repair or whatever it is. And I looked, and of course, I'm sure you can imagine there's a lot of competitors. And I remember seeing this one guy with just, I want to say over 100 Google reviews. And I'm like, oh, trustworthy, great. And I'm like, okay, let me call this guy. And here's something else. He's from Russia and speaks broken English. But you know what? I contacted him. I spoke to him. But those 5-star reviews and dozens and dozens and dozens, it's like, come on out. And he came to the house. He fixed it. The price was fine, good. And then I've used him no less than probably 10 times over the years. And it's just like, okay, got to get Vasif over here. And I text him, and I'm like, hey, got another one. And then so it's really interesting how you really, really, really do trust those reviews. And here's a really big thing I want you to comment on. How many of those dozens and dozens of people that reviewed this computer guy, how many of them did I know? Zero.
No,
right? So people trust the reviews online, even if it's not your buddy, your neighbor, your mom, your cousin. So speak a little bit about that third-party proof, social proof affirmation, even when you don't know who they are.
Okay, sure. There's been studies, number one, like on restaurants and their reviews on Yelp. And if they lose a star, their business will go down 20%.
Yeah.
And they see it. And an example I give in my book, it's like, let's say you're looking for, a good Chinese restaurant to go for dinner. And you'll ask one of your friends, and they say, oh, I love this place. Favorite place. But then you go on to the internet and you go to Yelp and you see 10 reviews of people saying, don't go here. I got sick. I got salmonella. I never go here. Who are you going to trust, right?
Yeah.
It's a law of numbers as well. But I wouldn't go there, Mike. And what we've seen is that people value anonymous reviews, especially on these trusted third-party websites, more than word of mouth, especially if there's the law of numbers. The more reviews you get, the more powerful it is, right? So, it's what do you call it? A wheel, right? The wheel just, as it gets heavier, it starts to spin, and then you got a machine.
Well, let's even think about something here with what you just said too, with the power of the great reviews. Got it. Check that box. And the power of a negative review. So here's remember way back in the old days of selling, right? You can what is it? Something like it takes you can have someone say 10 great things about you, and that moves the needle a little bit. But then that one person that says one negative thing, all of a sudden it's like, and it goes down. So let's talk a little bit now about if and when a negative review comes in. A, what do you do about it? And B, is that something so detrimental that your business can't overcome that?
It depends how you handle it. Here in Arizona, there was a company called Amy's Bakery, and they were on that show with Gordon Ramsay, kind of like Restaurant Makeover. And these guys came out awful, right? They would get bad reviews, but they would argue them, right? They'd get on these online arguments. They went out of business, right?
Wow.
How you handle them is huge. Now, my theory is the first thing I want to do is get them to take it down. That's the best of anything.
Yeah.
So the thing you don't want to do is argue with them and say, no, that's not what happened.
Yep.
Or you're just no. You have to play the victim here a little bit, all right? And people leaving a negative review, they know it hurts your business, so you're going to kind of lay a little karma on them, all right, Mike? So number one, you sympathize. I'd be upset too, right? Number two, fix it. Say, hey, let me give you a credit, right? Let me send you a gift card. I send gift cards. I'll send a $100 gift card, right? If someone gets an NSF fee from the insurance company, and it wasn't even my fault, but the insurance company says, well, I'll pay you back in 4 weeks. I say, don't worry about it. Let me cover it, right?
Yeah.
And I'll get it to them right away. Fix it. Then, say how important those reviews are to your business. Then ask them to remove it, right? Especially after they get that little gift. That's the time to really ask, did you get the Amazon card, you say? Did you get the check? Yes. Overwhelmingly, knock on wood, I've been able to get so many reviews down, but people are human, Mike. You're going to have mistakes. And I think people realize that.
Agreed. And sometimes I've seen that when there's that customer service, flare up, and maybe it's not online or in a review, but let's say it's like on the phone or in person, and if they handle it right away, all of a sudden it's like, oh, Brian, thank you so much. Hey, listen, man, I didn't really. All of a sudden now you're best friends. So the thought crosses your mind, like, shoot, let's orchestrate like a flare up so that I can come and save the day. But you said something that is really powerful, because the power of a gift is great. We love that. I've interviewed John Rulin, author of Giftology. Great concept. But here's something that I want to get your opinion on, because my thought would be that you would never in a million years put a response to a review to go, hey, so sorry that happened. I would feel the same way. Look, I'm going to do X. I'm going to gift you this, or I'm going to get you that. Just call the office. Because if someone else comes behind that and sees that, wow, you give a bad review, you get something. Now all of a sudden here comes bad reviews just to get something. So don't you think that it would be the best thing to say, I feel your pain. We're going to handle this right away. In fact, here's my personal cell, or here's our office number. You call us right now and we are going to fix this. You're going to be thrilled. Thanks for the feedback. And then on the phone or email, you're going to give whatever you're going to give, right?
Yeah, don't say hey, thanks. Don't let them say, hey, thanks for the gift card, right? No. Let's say you can't get them to take down the review. At that point, you want to do a response that's not argumentative, but just, let them know you're going to make mistakes. It's how you handle it, right? Yeah. So, write a response similar to, I'm so sorry you had this negative experience. We'd like to make it up to you. We fixed the problem to make sure it never happens again. Yeah. And that's a big thing with customers, because a lot of times you could actually thank a customer. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. We've fixed this issue and it won't happen again. And your apology, all these things. When people leave a negative review, usually they want something, okay? Yeah. And they've called customer service first. Usually people don't go right on and leave reviews. Yeah. So handle it. And when you're trying to get one down, negative review down, please, the owner calls. That's the biggest thing. People would say, I'm so impressed that the owner of the company called. That is huge. It's a very powerful. I don't know why, really. Back in the day when I was starting to get reviews, Mike, I would call customers personally. And I would say, how did everything go? This and that. And I'd say, can you give me maybe, if you were to rate me out of 5 stars, what would you give me? Can you give me, a little snippet? And people would they give me the greatest reviews. And it's kind of like you don't want to tell someone they have an ugly baby, right? Yeah. So it's a great way to get reviews. And then I would do the same thing, Mike. I would go back and I'd give them that same snippet and I'd say, can you please put this, on these third-party websites? And then boom, that's a great way to start. But don't let them say that you gave them a gift. You're right, Mike. But let them know that you fixed the problem.
Don't even solve it on the Google review thing, because then it just shows that you're willing to bend, and then the next person behind it goes, cool, I'm going to leave a bad review to get a discount the next time or to get whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think your point there is don't be argumentative, because the knee-jerk reaction is to go, are you serious? Brian, I told you when you were in the office not to do this and that it was that. Why would you even? So you feel like I am right. Why would you even say that? But you can't do it. And you just have to realize that when people come behind and see all these reviews, it shows authenticity when you're responding. So great, good or bad. But I also feel like if all you saw was 427 5-star reviews, that's great. That's good. But I think peppering, when a negative review does get peppered in there a little bit, it shows a little bit of like, hey, we're human. We fixed it. We handled it. We were nice about it. But I think that it's not the end of the world when someone does see a hiccup in there, because they're like, okay, the other 300 positive reviews were great, and the 7 that I just saw, big deal. But they handled it. That was really cool.
Exactly. Yeah, people are human, but it depends on how you handle it. And, when people do business with somebody and something does go wrong, which it very well, it may, they want to know that it's going to be handled correctly. Yep. That it'll be made right. And that's a huge thing. Reviews, they also give a level of accountability, right? So if somebody values their online reputation, as a consumer, if you go and give them a bad review, you do have some recourse. Yeah. So it's a level of accountability. I would be very wary of doing business with somebody I can't find anything online. Yeah. You mentioned a great example of a technical repair person. Would you have hired him if you didn't see all those reviews, right? Yep. And if he did mess up, you could give him a review. And I don't know. It's a very, very powerful thing, and I encourage everyone to do it because it is huge.
Well, I think we could talk for hours on end about the power of third-party testimonials, reviews, but I really appreciate your insights, Brian. What's the best way that someone could reach out, connect with you, read a copy of your book, and maybe learn more about what you provide?
Oh, absolutely. I'd like to give all your listeners a free copy of my book. I can, digitally, I can give away the audio and the PDF version. And if they just go to brianjgreenberg.com/influential, I'll have a page up there, Mike, and I'll have links to where somebody can get the book.
Excellent. Well, Brian, thank you so much for that gift and for your time coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneurssradio.com.